Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another card video. It's so good to see you guys, to be on camera. It's been a long time since I did this, over 6 or 7 weeks ago for sure. Before I got sick, I got mono at the end of February into March. I also had strep with it. So my videos have been few and far between, but I'm feeling much better now. I'm on the mend and I almost have all of my energy back, so that's really been great. Today's card video uses some new stamps and dies from Concord and Ninth. They have a really fun release for the month of April. It's called Brighter Days, and it's just to help inspire and connect us all during this really trying time. And the thing that's cool about it is that 10% of all profits for the month go to relief efforts for the pandemic and the virus. So it's a way to, give back. It's win-win on both ends. You get some creativity and then also can give back a little bit. So today's cards, yes, multiple cards, came from the idea of having one card sketch, but using different supplies on each card. So I have the basic design down, but each card looks a little bit different because of the supplies that I use. So let's jump into it. So the stamps and dies I'm using today are actually called Brighter Days. They are the namesake for this release. And I sketched out my card design before I went to make it. And this is what it looks like. Please excuse the paper surrounding the area. I had to cover up some other projects. But that is basically my card sketch and my plan for changing out the different supplies for each card. Starting out with a 5x7 watercolor block from Fabriano. This is the extra white, Artistico extra white cold press watercolor paper. And I thought about removing it from the block, but then decided not to because I want the paint to be able to go all the way to the edge. And if I would have taken it off the block, I would have needed to tape it down to a board. I'm using some Salty Ocean Distress Oxide ink today, and I'm going to wet the entire surface of the watercolor paper before I actually bring that ink in because I want a really, really soft background for a sky. So before I actually start painting the blue, I'm going to grab another paintbrush, which actually had a little bit of blue paint still left on it from a previous project, but no worries because I am going to be painting this blue anyway, but I did try to rinse off my brush after I noticed that there was blue on it. So I'm going to bring in the Salty Ocean Distress Oxide ink and I'm going to soften it out on the edges. I mostly want this blue shade in the center area where I'm going to be stamping the rainbow over top. So I'm moving my brush around, just softening all those edges. And then I used my heat tool to speed along the drying process. And when it's on a block like this, it takes a longer time to dry because there's just all that paper underneath. So when it was mostly dry, I would say maybe 80% dry, I removed it from the block and then let it dry completely. I'm now using the separate rainbow sections from the stamp set, and I'm going to be stamping it in 4 different colors, starting with Picked Raspberry. And I'm just stamping inside my MISTI stamp positioning tool just in case I need to stamp these pieces more than once. So after I have that stamped really well, I'm going to move on to the other colors. So I'm going to be using Ripe Persimmon for the next size down, and I'll just ink that up and stamp that right below the Picked Raspberry. Then I switch to Mustard Seed. And the very last color I used is Peacock Feathers. It's kind of a nice tealish blue shade. So after I had that stamped, I decided to smooth out the texture inside each one of these lines. And since I used Distress Oxide ink, it is water reactive, so I'm able to come in and kind of soften and smooth out all of those areas. It gives me a nice solid line. I loved how this turned out, taking all that kind of textured color and making it nice and smooth, and it even made it look like it was watercolored, which I thought was a really cool effect, even though I had just stamped these. After I smoothed out all of the colors on the rainbow, I just hit that with my heat tool to speed up the drying process, and then I moved on to quite a bit of die cutting. I've cut out some pieces of fun foam, and I'm using the smaller cloud die from the die set. And I've cut it out 4 times. 2 of those clouds will be used on this first card, and then the other 2 will be used on my second card. I grabbed my A2 Layers dies from Waffle Flower just to get this size just perfectly. I wanted the clouds to kind of hang off the edge. So I ran that through my die cutting machine, And then I created my card base out of some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. In order to stamp my greeting, I placed these fun foam clouds on the piece here just temporarily in order to get my greeting on there just right. So I placed it over the top, and then I closed the door of my MISTI, and it pushed that, or it stuck that stamp to the door, and then I inked it up with some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. So this greeting is going to be in a nice black. It's going to stand out really well on top of these bright colors. And after I have my greeting stamp, I can start assembling, putting the card all together. So I've put that watercolor piece on some 3D foam adhesive and adhered that to my card front. And then I used Gina K Connect glue to glue on these fun foam clouds. To finish off the card, I took a dash line with a black pen around the outer edge. And I wanted to do the black line because it gives a friend to the black greeting. I like to have like two things of the same color sometimes, especially if it's black like that. So now I'm moving on to the second card. I'm changing the color of the card base so that it's some Neenah Environmental Desert Storm cardstock. And I'm going to be stamping directly onto the front of the card. And I stamped this rainbow in the exact same way that I stamped on the watercolor piece. Except on this ripe persimmon, I actually stamped it twice so that I got a little bit more of a solid line. So I went through and I stamped everything, including all four colors. So picked raspberry, ripe persimmon, mustard seed, and then peacock feathers. And after I had all four of those stamped, I moved on to kind of creating the cloud area. So I took the fun foam that I cut earlier and I temporarily adhered it to a block. And I actually took both pieces of fun foam and I glued the second piece on top of the first. And that creates a temporary stamp. I'm now using some white pigment ink from Simon Says Stamp, and I'd hoped that that white pigment ink would be opaque enough to cover up the bottom of those lines, the colorful lines from the rainbow. But even after drying all of that pigment ink and then stamping a second layer on top, it still really wasn't covering up all of that color as much as I had hoped. So I thought, you know what? I had already planned to stamp and white heat emboss my greeting. So since I used a pigment ink, I might as well just go ahead and use white embossing powder on top of that, of the two clouds. So I took a little break there, did my dash line similar to the first card, and then stamped my greeting in Versamark ink. Versamark ink is a sticky embossing ink. They call it a watermarking ink because if you do stamp on solid color cardstock, you can get a cool watermark effect. But today I'm doing heat embossing. So I've stamped that greeting in Versamark. And then I coated both the greeting area and both clouds with this white embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. This is alabaster embossing powder. And this is going to cover up all of the bottom sections of the rainbow. You can still see a little bit through the powder right now, but once I hit it with my heat tool, it will completely cover up the bottom of those rainbow lines. You can see how it just disguises the color perfectly. And I did also run over my heat tool until the greeting area was smooth and melted as well. So those are the two cards side by side so you can see how they look with different supplies. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I really love how both of those turned out. I think they look so fun and colorful with the different rainbow stamping. I just really loved creating both of these cards. So like I did back in, I think it was December, maybe November with my holiday card series, I'm going to ask you a question to answer down in the comments. I want you guys to tell me your favorite snack. I know we're all kind of at home, or if you're not at home and you're on the front lines, like thank you so much for what you're doing. You're keeping all of us going. Tell me your favorite snack. What is your favorite like go-to snack item? It doesn't have to be crunchy. It could be sweet, could be salty. Whatever your favorite snack is, let me know down in the comments. I've got 2 more videos on screen for you to check out today. These are going to be really fun, colorful cards that you could definitely change the supplies used and make them your own. Really fun ideas. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. That lets me know you love it. And I will be back very soon with another card. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you guys next time.